Shall we talk about Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I guess we can. Aye.
Have either of you been reading this particular run of Captain Marvel at all? This is Tara Butter's run with Kris Anka.
Yes.
Oh, good, because I haven't. What can you tell me
Thanks,
about it?
Alex.
It's just a lot of she doesn't want to be in charge, she is in charge, then she enjoys being in charge, and then she doesn't enjoy being in charge, and there's a lot of very much impending doom all over again. Constantly throughout a lot of it's the end of the world, oh no it's not, we fixed it all because of this and this and this. So it's entertaining enough. It's never going to win awards for being amazing storytelling. I think that's it's a good story, and you're getting to know her a bit better, and the team that she's working with have got some interesting characters on them, but it's not award-winning storytelling.
I don't know Tara Butters really. I think she's a TV writer.
She is, yeah. She's
over.
Done a lot of work on Shield and Daredevil, I think.
Right. So I'm glad they're mine in other areas, and TV is probably the closest analogue to this sort of thing, serialised storytelling. But yeah, I wasn't overwhelmed with this issue. I can see what they're trying to do, in that we need to show that Carol is being put in this position of responsibility where she feels this overwhelming pressure to use everything at her disposal. And I suppose the idea is whether using Ulysses to predict the future and avert it is going too far. It's that old Minority Report thing.
Precogs.
Yeah.
Future.
It was a bit heavy-handed for me, and the problem with Captain Marvel is the character has become so much about this person who wants to fulfill her potential that every time a new writer gets their hands on her, they have to take her back a few steps to let her have somewhere to go again. You feel like sometimes she kind of achieves something and becomes the hero she's supposed to be, and then she loses her confidence, and it's like she's in this position of responsibility and she's trying to get used to it, and you think she'd be used to it by now. She's led the Avengers, she's done all sorts of stuff, but apparently not. What do you make of it, Scott? Like, are you fresh to Captain Marvel?
Yeah, like this run of Captain Marvel, yeah, I'm fresh to it. I've not really read it, and I didn't plan on reading it. But I knew Captain Marvel when she was flying around in space with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a bit. Mainly because I like the Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. That's my jam.
Yeah.
And we should really talk about Secret Age of Venom being with Guardians of the Galaxy at some point, because that was awesome. It was. We're getting sidetracked. Stop.
Sure.
But yeah, this was interesting. Like you say, it does have a lot of thematic connections with Minority Report. Like, can we stop this? And Alex brought up a really good point about Rhodey. Yeah, because he's still alive in this, but it is obviously before that. And as soon as Alex pointed it out, I went back and reread it. I was like, yeah, that is a bit confusing.
It's poor release scheduling, definitely poor scheduling.
It's exactly like the Supergirl and Flash crossover, where it's like they did it, but then 3 episodes later or whatever, that's when Flash goes. So it's kind of a bit confusing. But otherwise, I didn't mind the issue. It was fine.
Yeah,
but
nothing to write home about.
It didn't make me want to be like, I'm going to pick up this series. I'm going to be really interested and invested in this Carol Danvers run. Nah, it serviced the plot of Civil War.
And that's the reason I was interested in this book, because for me at the moment, Civil War 2, the problem with it is I don't really understand the conflict. Like, I can see that there are kind of two sides to this argument, but I feel like the way that they're engineering it to become a fight is just not very natural, and it all feels a bit forced. So I was hoping that reading the separate perspectives of Iron Man and Carol, that I would get a bit better understanding of what this is all about.
I don't think we're going to get it from the leaders. I don't think we're going to get the perspective from Iron Man or Captain Marvel. I think it's going to be from somebody else, whether it's from the Inhumans side of things, maybe Karnak, or whether it'll be somebody even like, not so much like Black Panther, because I'm really not enjoying that book at the moment. It's a little bit too peculiar, but maybe A-Force, something like that. A-Force might hit it right, particularly with what happened to She-Hulk in the Civil War issue. That might open things up a bit, and because she appears in quite a few other books as well, it's quite a wide-reaching quite a wide-reaching conflict, and she's now, well, at the moment we don't know what position she's in. The last we saw was a heart monitor just going on beep,
Yeah.
solid, and she's got quite a big part in Hellcat. Of all things, it's silly, but it's somebody who's not a big player in the universe who's going to have an opinion on it, and I think that this is where we're going to get the big arguments from. I think the problem is with Carol and Iron Man both being led by, or both having accountability to boards of directors or whatever they are. They lend themselves to more of a political resolution than an aggressive one. So the fight does feel constructed, because in reality they're never going to fight.
Yeah.
I know Medusa can lose her temper, and I could believe that Medusa would just go kick off crazy and go and beat somebody.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe that Carol and Tony will get into a scrap over this. It just doesn't make sense.
And Tony seems too quick to use force in a, when he's been through this before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue that he actually lost his memories of Civil War, which I don't want to go into, but he doesn't remember Civil War. Oh, I'm sorry. So maybe that's why. But really, I think it's just kind of putting people in positions where it doesn't quite feel natural to them. I mean, Iron Man's a futurist anyway, so he's all about predicting the future and planning for what's coming, and this seems to fit more into his character than Captain Marvel's. But I don't know, I need something to convince me as to why this conflict is necessary. Maybe Ultimates will be the book, because that's got a combination of some really interesting characters, including Captain Marvel, Black Panther, where these discussions can take place. And if it's anything like Civil War 1, a lot of the emotion was dealt with in the tie-in stories. It could really kind of shine a spotlight on the crux of the conflict and how it affects people. So we'll have to try a few more books like this, I think, maybe till we find the right one, but it doesn't maybe seem to be that this is the right one for us.
It was very quick. Carol was very quick in this issue to suddenly jump to the Ulysses argument. Now, we're just talking about the confusion about Rhodey, and I had to go back and read Civil War again just to get the timeline straight in my head. And they seem to have slotted this issue of Captain Marvel in between the big scrap with the trans-dimensional being and with Thanos, which in Civil War are really appear really close together timeline-wise.
Yeah.
So it was a bit jarring, and it also seems that she's not quite got enough history with Ulysses to suddenly jump to the point of, I need to go and get Ulysses now, need to go and see what's going on immediately. And that just didn't sit right with me at all. I don't think she'd do that.
No. Alright, well, maybe we'll check out another and just see if it gets any better, but for the time being, not overwhelmed with that one, I'm afraid.
hoping it gets better.
Do you want to talk about Preacher next?